Well, isn't this just lovely? So, so lovely is the best way that I could describe this. I always love this time of year, I guess, and I feel like I'm being called to reflection because this time of year specifically forms an energy that reminds me so much of my love. That love being Dennis, my partner. Um, he's a Cap Sun, Cancer Moon, Aries rising. So this time of year, I mean, his synastry is his natal his energy is unparalleled. He's such a master of so much, but he really plays on the origins of family, and and he's an energy that is set out to identify and embody, and it's almost like his energy, like it's a delicate one in the sense that it really needs, if it does not have that core sense of original family and what you gain from that, like if it doesn't have that, it can get really volatile, I feel like. And so to others, it may feel like, this person is this or that, but this is where we don't get into duality, because you're neither whether you're this or that to some person. Because the reality is, for somebody like me, that's perfect, because I am the perfect setting and family origin for his energy. And he's found that in like my close spiritual advisors in life who also happen to be blood related. So I consider myself really lucky, because the nucleus of what's merged here confirms that it's okay for both he and I to be here and be who we are. Because I think part of the initiation, when you are someone who, which is all of us, right? Like, there's the point of alignment is so important. And I'm going to read the traditional charge of the Star Goddess poem that came with my Mother Peace round tarot. And it's just the most like it's the most my energy mantra that I just pulled it out. It's like a poem, but it's like such a daily mantra for me that when I sit down, it's important for me to have that, just ready, because it's good to continually think about what's being said in those prose. But specifically when I'm talking about Dennis's energy at this time, like there is, the number 13 has been just so prevalent for me personally, but also because of what's happening collectively. The completion of the last 13 years, things you've been working at, for that long. Things you've been intentionally trying to, like, to some degree, what the shore that you've arrived on is the conclusion or the goal of whatever you were setting out to do at that time. And like I said, some of us are like me, like that's a very like physically transformative era, because I was going like through puberty, but for others, like, I feel like once you get, mid-20s on, the decades really start in a more consistent way, but for me, like, how lucky, like I was already naturally physically changing rapidly at the time of some of this acceleration. So, it works nicely that as I'm entering this new budding phase where I feel like things really, like, the record of you really can kind of start here. Like, I think because, growing up, when you go through those very primary years of life, you're not building on much. 1 year is an entire existence. It's your entire well of knowledge. It's infinity in one drop, but, because it's like Two of Pentacles, every year, like, whoa, world just like expanded, because now what I know spans over 4 years instead of 2 years. And, and it's a different, you're working with different, you're accruing knowledge, you're expanding in every moment, infinitely. And just a portion of that expansion is captured or can be captured on Earth, which is what we're doing here in the years that we're given. And then when you look at it from that perspective, whatever is lived, But at the same time, like, you know, it's the point where, how do I say, we allow ourselves to feel good about what we know to be true in our feelings. Okay? Because some of us never acknowledge our feelings. I mean, we've made complete aspects of societies ignorant and devoid of any of our feelings, you know? We've made definitory statements about what is and what our purpose is and why we have to have things be in binary spaces or in definitive spaces in order for us to function properly. And what's the goal of that and what is functioning? And we're defining all of that stuff now. And we're sitting back and we emotionally are going through so much intensity because, you know, emotions are a lot louder when you ignore them. Because your homeostasis is that they aren't there. So there will always be an awareness that there's something that you have to keep in the shadow that you don't address. Well, this is the time where Aquarius and Uranus say, it's our show, it's our era, okay? I'm in my Aquarius era. Like, that should be everybody's mantra right now. No. Instead of villainary, like, I'm in my Aqua era, bro. I mean, a lot of people would call this villainary, you know? I got some bad news for you. Welcome to the age of the Aquarius. I'm just playing, y'all. I'm just playing. But no, seriously, it is a deep exhalation. Because we talked about, you know, Aquarius is one thing we're going to do is we're going to keep working and completely lightning bolt, blow up everything we previously knew by just bursting consciousness constantly and being in an infinite dance of gratitude to the Most High for the experiencing of that expansion and that expression. Oh my God. Like, can you tell I'm in love with my life? Like, I'm a little dehydrated, but I am in love with my life, you know? It feels like that, you know? It feels like I can breathe. Like, I can sit and feel into how I really feel. You know, another card that's been on my altar for the last week or so has been this sexual energy card. You know, which I'll be sure to go over both of those because they're just really poignant, concrete ways that the divine just orchestrates everything, you know? Orchestrates like every single facet of what's going on here. And in that way, I'm just like so infinitely grateful to celebrate now and define celebration as like moments of pure, just like singing my redemption song, like just really singing praises unto the Most High for, because it's like the ecstasy, the sexual energy that fuses when you actually complete and meet your goal. That's Capricorn. Capricorn mobilizes energy. Raw, sacral energy. And congratulates itself. Processes in the awareness that I'm not like other creations on this earth. The goat. The mountain goat. Ascending the mountain, defying gravity, like just in style. Like, it's almost like this Capricorn full moon is like, what angle did you want to get me at? Because I look good from every angle. It's the type of deep work that even the people who swear to God they don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about right now, excuse me, but like, or don't even know like how to get on track from off track, how to get out of the mess or in the mess. No matter how sticky it could get, you feel that. I don't know. Like, this is just where things, I feel like, transform for me. Like, divest, like divest, like take it out, say no, is what I want to say. Move it out of the way. Like, it's like, oh my God, like if you're staring at the manifestation, like if you're looking and it's really just a giant mirror and then there's you, but you look like a version of you that isn't even real. Like, it's not even real. Like, I'm looking and I'm like, no way though. Like, that's what it became. That's how clear, like, I think, like, what makes me attractive at this time is the clarity and the sharpness of my sword. People want some of that, is what I mean. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? It's like how acutely you're aware of what you're serving. That's what makes us want more. Sheesh. Can you tell I hang out with a lot of Aries energy? I'm around a lot of fire often, ironically. Not really, because I have a ton of Aquarian and 9th house or Sag energy. So I'm very attracted to 11. So funny that I'm talking about what like pulls and works well with my energy, expansion. I think like Sag and Aquarius energy coming through to say like the reason it's bestie vibes is because Sag is like, I'm trying to go. Bro, I got the Bible on deck. I'm trying to take this wisdom and get because once you realize like you can play the part of like, I've been there, I've done that, and I've got the wisdom for it. It's on chapter 39. Like, that's a Sagittarius. They cannot wait to pull out their book of life, pop that bitch open, turn to page 9, say, start here, paragraph 2, and just verbatim read you to filth, Sag is ready for that. Because they get to just they know that they're the ones who just get to roll around, experience shit, and be correct in their wisdom. 12/12, objectively, right? Through what they've completed, right? And that works so well with like an explosive energy like Aquarius, Uranus is my soul dispositor, so, who run the world? Uranus, you know what I mean? Like, that's my life. That's what's playing in my head right now. Yeah, no, it's crazy though. So when you get this like explosion and every time it's like instant release, from fire to air, right? Burning things to ashes, like with the form of that. Like, I would always think that I suppose like being cremated would make the most sense, just objectively when we're talking about like what to do with energy and how to keep things moving. It like seems like such from an optimization standpoint, like makes sense, you're a return to an expansive lighter energy, and that ritual of burning so like new growth can come. It just seems like a good push into the next travel, anyways, I don't know, that doesn't really matter, but all of that to say, like, that's the energy right now. Like, it kind of feels like you wanted to you like cremated the old cycle. Like, that's what we're realizing. Like, as you rise as the phoenix, and I just saw like a red bird fly up into this tree back here. No way. I just saw a red robin is in this tree. You see it? Yes, you do. You guys see it in that general area. It was already visible, but I think, yep, you see it. There it goes. So the phoenix, I was just about to say the freaking phoenix rising from the whole ashes, coming through, slaying, as I would say. It's just remarkable. Right? But when you emerge, you're like, boom, phoenix. And you look at like the cremation of what it was, and this like saying no, remember we went back to like the no, like push it out of the way because it's like right in front of you, and there's just like stuff that it's like, like in Jumanji, like when you find like the Ouija board, or you find some heirloom or like you find the like Annabelle doll, or like the Chucky I don't know, but you like find the relic and it's like, okay, but you see it, it's like hidden under like whatever. so you're just like, whatever's in the way, you're like moving those bitches out of the way because this like thing is like glowing or something. Or like if you stumble upon treasure, that's how collective is like coming through the ethers. Like that last part, like cremation, I feel like we'll really understand that feeling, like that sensation, like the purified burn. Like this is like sort of the cremations period, like that we just over like came out of. I'm getting this as like this is where we're coming from, and we're gonna realize that like we went in and like purified under the sun energy during this season. We've like purified it under the sun and now have taken a new form. So that's why a lot of us were also getting guidance about just like needing to be regularly like outdoors, or just like, yeah, I feel like this was one of those years where I was grateful for to be in tune. Like, I mean, it's a year 6, so it's a year of real balancing out, meaning you know, not always positive, not always feel goody, but like, right, like I could have never imagined this year being this the way that it is, but it is a balancing year, meaning like shit that was like loud and out of balance. Like if you think you're gonna be able to like play your way through that, this like on a 6 year, it's just not gonna happen. Like you're not gonna be able to run around here and act like what's going on isn't going on. So you might as well just get with the shit. And the universe supports that. So you will find that, yeah, for some of us, but it's also your deepest dream, because your deepest manifestation is like your highest alignment, believe it or not. So like sometimes like the worst thing can happen, and then in the 3D you're like playing the meat suit up and you're like, oh my god, like the worst thing just happened, but your emotional body is like, turn up. Like it's almost like a tower or like a cremation, or like knowing something's just gonna go through. Like you could just send it in the fire. Like there's a decision that I feel like we collectively made to just like send ourselves through the fire and be like, it's burnt, like it's burnt up, like I'm giving this up. That really like allowed us to manifest complete expansion, like the most like new form, because you go from fire to air, like you become, you're released into ash, you know. So that red bird really signified like that ascent straight up. It like shot up from the ground and went straight up into this like gorgeous tree that's in my neighbor's yard, but it's there, you know. So yeah, I mean, those are all the just like off the top downloads. But yeah, let's start with the traditional charge of the star goddess, but let's also start with, no fucking way, dude. Okay, you guys want to hear something fucked up? So I just saw 1738, right? Like right at the time when I got hit in the left eye. And it's so funny because when I looked at the time earlier, I was going to say the synchronicity of 1731. And I was like, oh, wait, that wouldn't have been funny for me to call out. Because I thought, you know how like 1730 by Fetty Wap, but you know how Fetty Wap has glaucoma, and I bet you it's in his left eye. So I was thinking about how I was about to awkwardly blurt out like 1731 as like the synchronicity, because that was what the time the video was at, thinking I was like repping like a Fetty Wap reference, even though the numbers were wrong. And so then as I was like, oh, time for a drink of water, it hit me in the eye at 1738. And immediately I was like, because I was already thinking about Fetty Wap, and then I was like, I whopped in the eye. Anyway, so that's just a weird synchronicity. Sorry, you just want me to like. So, dude, it says traditional charge of the star goddess. I, who am the beauty of the green earth and the white moon among the stars, and the mysteries of the waters, I call upon your soul to arise and come unto me. For I am the soul of nature that gives life to the universe. From me, all things proceed, and unto me they must return. Let my worship be in the heart that rejoices, for behold, all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. Let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, honor and humility, mirth and reverence within you. And you who seek to know me, know that your seeking and yearning will avail you not unless you know the mystery. For if that which you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. For behold, I have been with you from the beginning, and I am that which is attained at the end of desire. Woo! Oh my God, like, is that not the Aquarius star archetype to a T, bitch? It's lit. Like, I don't know why you would be doing anything but like rejoicing that we're going into the age of the Aquarian. You're so fortunate that you got to rack up your karma, whatever the fuck it was, and get the fuck down here and learn at whatever pace you had to, because it's about to get lit. The Aquarius tells you, here's the riddle, bro. Uranus is the little troll under the bridge, okay? Rumpelstiltskin, that's Uranus energy. It says there's a little glitch that you can't decode. Here's a little riddle for you, because you can't just get it off top. Like, when it comes to going from Capricorn, like thinking we've mastered self, to reaching the Aquarius, like what you perceive as weird is actually just a projection of how you can't get Aquarian energy like the one way, like there's an instant repeller. So if what you're seeking you don't currently have within, you will never get what it without. That is the gift. That is the Aquarian medicine. Because you can only get the naked fucking woman. You can, because Aquarius is the finest, sitting up there naked, divine, raw, vulnerable feminine energy in its raw, potent form. The like purest form of you, right? So you can't get that, bro. You can't just, it's like, you can't just go up in somewhere and get premium. I don't know, like it's like some sort of exclusive club. Like, it's like, bro, this isn't just available to anybody. This is like, what? Like, hold up, whoa, you'd have to have mastered Aries through Capricorn. You can't just pull up. So for those of us that are going through the age of the Aquarian, you'll notice how you may be having to really be initiated to really graduate and start to connect with each of these zodiacal signs, because you won't be able to get the fruits of this time period right now. This is the biggest fucking download ever. But you won't be able to get the fruits of this time right now, this Aquarian energy, because Aquarius has done the work. If it's one thing an Aquarius has done, it's the work. We are fixed air. Fixed air. By the time we actually started generating energy from wind, like wind has been like it's been churning. You know what I mean? So by the time you're seeing and hearing from Aquarius at any time, just know, if it's one thing there was a process. There was a process. So the one thing that Aquarius can easily know, boom, penetrate right through, is they are going to identify whether you've gone through a process or not. They're going to identify your process. Because Aquarian energy is the reward, the expansion, because you'd have to give it to yourself, though. This is not like God rewards Aquarian. Like, yes, we are God's favorite, don't get it twisted, but no, it's like God, the reward that comes with the Aquarian expansion is through your own electrocution, in your own death and rebirth, in your own destroying of everything you ever had. That's how we know you've initiated into this time. We can now it's going to be, I'm putting y'all on game. It's going to be clear as day. If people are still, it's like, it's not even like if people are still, it's like, we're going to know. People still trying to push manifestation. Anything that came before right now should be complete. So trends, spaces, the way we congregate, the way we relate, it's all new. It's all free game. It's all in an expanded form. So if you don't feel that way, or if you're not feeling like that's what resonates, that's probably because there's some aspect of that process that we haven't undergone. Because you would have had to have had mastery in order to become nothing, you know, and still hold the value. Because Aquarius is the optimization. It's when we went from Macintosh 3 desktop to iPhone. Boop, like things disappear. Like old form demolished. But everything that was in that Macintosh desktop at one point is now in to some degree in my iPhone, you know? But we've optimized it. You like, you know, instant, zap, bink. Like, it's 1994 and now it's 2022 and this is what technology looks like. Aquarius owns that domain. So quite literally, some of y'all are going to see, we're all going to see God go, it's like bibbity bobbity boop, and like instant optimization. So it's like you're going to get to the point. So like, it might be just like shit falls off, energy dies off, like, you know, it's in like the connection you have with someone, because it's like, oh, no. What you didn't know is you're going to the age of the Aquarian. And as soon as that starts, it means you instantly like turn into a innovated form. Does that make sense? Which literally just means like the core. So it's like if there's a M&M, it's like the chocolate falls off and it's just the peanut. You know what I mean? That would be the Aquarius. So if something is in the chocolate, it might be like your whole marriage is it somewhere in the chocolate, or you know, your old career, or your old like social impact, you know, like whatever it is. Certain things are like think, and you're left with the peanut, and it's technically the most valuable aspect of you, but to some of y'all it may feel like massive loss, you know, because it's essentially as if something just like disappears into thin air, you know. But that is how we've progressed, you know, and intimately knowing that that's what the Aquarian archetype is, we will start to come into balance with what are our limits, what are our boundaries, what is not appropriate, what is now going beyond what is necessary and balanced for the universe for our human impact and what we take from this planet, and what is way beyond that. And so the age of the Aquarian is a perfect chef's kiss gift to help us heal the planet. Like, yeah, look at this shit, bitch. It's a mess where we are. And that's, you know what I mean? Objectively, like, it, you know, there are people that do have to suffer. Like, ultimately, there will always be a balance of light and dark. So there's never actually going to be more darkness than there is light, believe it or not. But the overall quality of life for those who do have to be in the dark, you know what I mean, can be better. So we care about that because we also know the wheel always motherfucking turns. So don't act like just because you're in the light there aren't or weren't or haven't been dark times, whether or not in just in this lifetime and our previous one. So this is why we care for our human, our fellow human, right? Because and not just humans, because when we actually start to care for other humans, we'll see ourselves like care for other species. So you'll start to see all other things like radically drop. I'm talking about like industries like evaporating in thin air. You know, like, would you be prepared for something like that? Like Aquarius is, you know what I mean? But some of y'all are not used, like, and so, for example, like, think about the people who, like, hoard, or people who like to, like, stay in specific time periods, or people who don't like to, like, refuse. So there's this, like, conversation that's going on, you know what I mean? Because also the Aquarius archetype, the natural form, might I add, probably looks more like the rudimentariness of the past. Like, it's still going to go back to, like, relying on the proper balance of like where we're placed in the ecosystem and what role we and how we can serve as conscious like energy beings that move around here. But actually everything has consciousness, so I don't even, but we have human consciousness and that's specific to us, so we need to serve, and you know what I mean. So it's time to really slay in what we give to this planet and actually start to help it. I think Aquarius, an Aquarian age says God loves you. It says God exists. If you were gonna have one fucking age to be going in when we are at our worst, it would be Aquarius, yeah? So let us rejoice and praise God, because you know that shit's not over, bro. To know that now we're going to be initiated into growth of the Aquarian. Why did I say the Aquarian? But the Aquarian, you know what I mean? To know that that is the nourishment we're going to get at this time. And the Aquarian, if it's one thing it is, it's a hard worker. It's a renewable resource. It means we can find a sustainable future. We will be transformed into more sustainability. That is what the universe has decided. So that will ripple. That is what the creator has decided. So that will ripple. You know, you can decide whether you want to, what part your destiny plays and all that, but it will ripple and it will be the state. And some of us know that we're going to be here in that time and we're excited for it. And it's hard to lose that fighting spirit when you're so close to it. You're so close to that new world. That new land, you know? That new internal land, you know what I mean? So, I am that which is attained at the end of desire. So, for example, I have an opportunity tomorrow that really could change my life. But it is coming at a time where I am no longer desiring anything. And sometimes, let me tell you, it gets beaten out of you spiritually, you know. And I chose that path for myself. And I'm grateful because I know, like, the most important thing is that you know the lesson. So if you know you're a little hard-headed around the edges, or you know, like, you really had to put in a little extra time and love to really whip your ass into shape, like, it was like, you know, it was a lot of that physical leaning in and having to really choose it to develop. Because, like, I'm telling you, like, a Pisces South Node in the 11th house is like for everybody. I was for the streets, bro. Like, I was for the streets. So it's just, I don't mean that in any, like, even a sexual manner. I just mean, like, energetically, like, my shit was just like, woo, way too all over the place and way too low energy. You know what I mean? So that's no boundaries and everybody getting a piece. Not a good look. So we're really ascending at this time. But I had to really find out my limits. I had to really know what the end of my desire looked like to jump into all of my dreams coming true, you know? I can't even act like I'm dictating really much of this at this point. Like, it's not my hand that's being played. So that's why I'm giving this message right now, because it's just so beautiful. And I just wanted to give myself a moment, because being so aware of the time and thinking that that is like, being so aware of the time limit and things like that, like, I really want messages. I really am someone who's always like, please, no, feel free to keep talking. Please, you know what I mean? And, like, I just trust that energetically you're being compensated, and that's why you're able to keep coming on here and continuing to talk. So because I love God, because I love the Most High, because I love what I do, and how blessed I am right now. Like, really, like, certain things came through for me today that I didn't even think I could have. So that's fucking awesome that, like, that energy can really manifest, especially when I feel like the universe always really supports me. Like, if I need something specific to be able to, like, give this message and feel comfortable and actually, like, give the extent of it and not create, like, obviously the reason we're consuming, like, okay, so here's the thing. Our desire is still just as strong. Whether you chop it up into 1,003-second, like, energy injections, you're still, so, like, for example, people, I'm just gonna use this as an example. So, like, if you're using, like, a TikTok, you're still, what you're doing is you're letting artificial software, virtual reality, morph into an actual energy sphere, is what I'm hearing, that lives with you. Because now at this point, some of you are 7 to 9 hours a day exchanging energy with this digital sphere, which has taken place of, you're having interrelational relationships. This is where it gets Age of the Aquarian. It gets weird. Like, you remember that movie that was about, it was called, like, Her, where that man just, like, or she or it or some shit, I don't know what the fuck the pronouns were, but I just know that it was about this man falling in love with, like, Alexa or Google Chrome or some shit, I don't know, but and it was fucking weird. But I think that we're gonna get to that space where some of those really deep addictions, and it's not even like an addiction at this point, it's like quite literally taken on the form of an entity. Like, some of y'all have, like, full relationships with this digital sphere, and, like, what you see, and, like, we're seeing that we've been, like, astral projecting into, like, the realm of Instagram, and, like, what that world is like, and how that's, like, sort of this sort of, like, seance bubble sphere that people create and that people really spend a lot of time with. So now we don't get as weirded out when we realize we already are fucking with AI. So you could be like, man, I'm trying to, like, put a little sticker over my aunt so that this motherfucking AI can't record me, bitch. But then you don't realize, like, AI has already, like, infiltrated based on just, like, from a energetic standpoint, like, what you've already created. Because the same way that, like, yeah, we can't actually see ghosts because they're not this dimension, or you can't actually see spirits, it's just that the projection of what you would think that spirit is, like, embodying, but it's not actually something visible. I think that's kind of what we get at here with this phenomena, you know, where, like, what is it? Like, what is the psychology of going into some of these social networks, or just having some of these personas within these networks, even more so, that you're, like, intimately engaging with, and now, like, you get your emotional stimulation from it, you get your sexual stimulation from it. Like, now you've transferred, I almost see it as spirit talking about, like, exchanging your chakra system. Like, you've now empowered some of these, like, so some of these mega conglomerates, like a TikTok or like a, you know, whatever, right? And this is not even like conspiracy theorists. This is just like at an energetic level what we see being transferred, like what we're offering. So like something like TikTok, right, which is like a social platform that has now given you thousands and thousands of like different energies in the same 9-hour span of time that some people might actually really like realistically spend on TikTok a day, right? Between morning, afternoon, and evening. Yeah, like literally. So you've now that this energy is starting to like behaviorally interact with you, like now you are reprogramming how you relate, you create into this space, you make intimate and emotional connections with this space. And that's what makes it so we can view it as addictive, but we could also view it as like the way that like it's getting weirder, right? Like you're seeing how like aliens could easily exist because like we can make, and then speaking of aliens could really exist, we always, Mother has taken a few tumbles, so she's had a little bit of damage, but she's gorgeous nonetheless, so she's definitely here. But yeah, like you can see how weird it really gets into the age of the Aquarian, and the Aquarian's like, I mean, look, anything can go, and because anything can go, like we need to know. So if we need to know, we need to formulate the plan. So Aquarius has always got something to really do, because that's the place that our energy is fixated at, on the collective body, you know. So yeah, but it's getting like that, you know, and I think that's why some of us, you know, got like this call to sort of divest or to really focus then on like what kind of person are you creating, you know, what is the relationship like if you're not so like judgmental of like no, that sounds fucking weird, like having like relations with a imaginary virtual space, like not me, okay, whatever. But if you were having that, like what does a healthy space look like, you know, how do you cultivate that, right? And so maybe then that's where like this content exists, you know, in a world where people are aware of that and conscious of that, and now are starting to be a little more weary, because some of you can, just like you can have like a toxic ex, like there might be certain platforms or spaces and how you engage with them. It's not even like saying like one, this is not even any of that, but how you engage with a certain space may just be toxic for you. And so therefore you're now always navigating this like almost toxic other projected image that's energy that you're interacting with, almost like you're like some sort of like schizophrenia, like it could be not there, but it's really what you're doing, you know. And you're because now humans are sitting like this and they're going through the whole chakra system, you know. Be sexually stimulated, creatively stimulated. It's like stimulation overload, right? But with like no real movement. So it's taken you from feeling that, and it's almost like really taking that chakra column and kind of putting it externally, like taking it out and letting. So it's like a very like it almost feels like I heard Spirit say like, it's like we are iron deficient, like anemic kind of, like that's kind of like been the vibe. And so when you kind of just like displace like your core energy field just because you're not really like aware of it. So that's what I kind of mean about like just be aware that like Aquarius is taking the collective. It's not even Aquarius collective is taking collective, let's just say that collective is going where collective is always going to go, but Aquarius has a different perception. Aquarius is like, this is also happening, this is also weird, this is also uncharted territory, don't be surprised if I go there, because I might go there, I'm probably gonna go there because it's there, because it's for us to go there too, you know. Aquarius also isn't like a rebel without a cause by any means. Like Aquarius goes everywhere. Aquarius goes wherever you are, whatever it is, that's where Aquarius is at, you know. Aquarius is transcended duality. Aquarius is like, nah fam, the reality of it really is, it is what it is. So if it is what it is, I need to know what I need to know about what it is, period. Doesn't matter how I really feel about it. This is where Aquarius can say, my feelings though are just being held by this. So somebody's got to do that work, because if we're all like, well, I just like don't agree, that's why I'm not gonna look, well, we can't not know, you know, because not knowing means we don't actually have any influence over it. It's just gonna, and that might be negative to someone else. This isn't just about you, right? This is where Aquarius is 11th house. It isn't just about you, it is about everybody. And it's like what we all look like together and what we all can expand to, because there's so many different people that you could bring together, and that's an expansion of where it could have been. It's a huge, You know what I mean? But you can't, again, we're going back to like, you can't just get this. This is not off the rack ass shit. Like, no, 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 no. Aquarius is like, I'm sorry, but if you haven't done the work, if we don't have the work established, and a lot of people might say that, you know, people are like, oh, Aquarian placements are assholes. I mean, Aquarius placements, though, like, it's got to be congruent to the amount of work that's put in. And that can vary, right? Because to an Aquarius, I mean, Aquariuses are oriented towards process, you know? They are processing things, you know? Because they hold the emotions, they are the place where we can now derive some meaning of this. It's like, okay, yeah, being in the emotion of something, it doesn't really always help you because you can think you are the emotion, you know? And so it's really nice to not be a water particle, but be able to like look at what the water particle looks like in hindsight, in perspective. And when you look at the emotion, you're like, okay, this is who I actually am. This is what this is actually telling me about me. And then I can get closer to what's the Aquarius, right? The vulnerable, beautiful, natural star when you glow from within, that you get from when you don't really desire, you know? So I always say, because I opened this talking about my Capricorn, but I think that's very paramount of the kind of rush you feel when you have an Aquarian Capricorn placement. That rush, you know, that lifestyle, that deeply committed lifestyle, actually. That's about how you can get the riches when you let go of desire. Like how much abundance you can get when you don't also just make it about just like what you want all the time. Because now you've opened up to the possibilities of spirit. Because you can desire what you want and you can go after what you want and you can get what you want. But that's always you doing you. Sometimes I don't know if I want to go after that. Sometimes I want to know what's also just good for me. Because my desires are not always good for me. I could desire a donut. But when I don't desire the donut, then I open myself up to being free to really see what there is to choose from at this time. And I've noticed that in my eating habits, like me and Dennis have just been like, anytime we desire something, we say, let's give it up. It's a couple that really likes to like, almost like a couple, like I would say, like something like extremists, like, oh yeah, like we just like to fast, like because we just like to see what the fuck happens if you go the opposite way. So we can really link up and meet in minds. It's definitely a relationship that is paramount by like what you get when you've had to like detach from all desires. And then it's like served to you literally on a plate. Like I think we really work in that way. You know? So it's kind of cool. Because it's kind of like, you know, a partnership where it's like you build it really nice and steady and strong and like give the general foundation and vibe, and then like boom, Uranus, I'm gonna come in and like paint that hoe, maybe knock in a few walls, expand the space out. It's like renovations, you know what I mean? That's our dynamic, I would say. Like our partnership is like always getting to renovate, which is fucking great, you know? Because there's a really strong ability to create something that is sustainable, and because it's so sustainable, we can then infinitely dance in the possibilities of what that could become. It's not a, we are in a relationship that desires a lot, and some people might be like, that's dry. It's not what your coochie said last night. No, like, you know what I mean? But it's not really dry. Like, it's really not. It's actually just like conserving energy, which I know a lot of you bitches don't have a lot of, considering how low vibe, right, you are. So, like I said, there will be no Aqua Capricorn slander in this motherfucker, because that's the bridge, bro. That is the bridge, bro. That is such a beautiful assignment, because our love really shows how one can transcend to the expansion. And that sensation can feel sexual energy, 4411. Boom, it can feel like da 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 da, whatever, you know, it can feel orgasm. It can feel like paramount. And that is sort of this new, like, tomorrow, this whole portal right now from 11/11. Also, happy birthday to Mercy, the angel of this channel. And probably the reason that I'm still 25 and I'm still just exactly as I was at like 7, 8, 9 years old, you know. So that's really awesome. But shout out to Mercy, would have been 26 today. which is cool because I always honor birthdays. You know, people are like, someone is not alive. Yeah, but their birthday doesn't change. That's technically the date that they were born. So, I mean, it's not like something that you have, there's no shame if you don't remember, but if it is important to you, it's not like weird. You don't have to be like, they're not alive anymore. It's like, well, I mean, but they were born on this day and I did appreciate that time that I did have. So, shout out to all of the July 11th Cancerians. You were deeply loved. Vital, necessary, so grateful, deeply inspiring, slay, you know? So that's kind of just been like really the top download. So maybe we should get into some cards 45 minutes in, you know? And like I said, like I'm really trying to lean in, you know, I feel like the animal medicine is really my vibe at the moment. That took me about 30 minutes to get. I love it. I literally love it. Oh, gosh. Wow, these cards have such a beautiful air. I almost felt like bald eagle, like flying over the valet, you know? Because I told you, the Phoenix just came through. It was a horrible shuffle, but Phoenix did just come through and shoot right up, so I just felt like a very soaring, open, light energy from these cards, which is so beautiful. But yeah, Spirit, I just want to put forward this animal that really has the guidance that's kind of talking about, I mean, just, this has been like a little, like I'm finally taking this channel like where I really want to go, which is, 10% battery apparently, no. Where I really want to go, which is a much more like fluid, let's actually talk about some important shit, you know what I mean? Let's talk about real shit. Let's talk about real shit, bro. Like, I'm just getting permission, like, as the Age of the Aquarians, like, really kicking off here, like, I'm about to blow up. I'm just kidding. Wow. Are you kidding? Gorgeous. Oh my god, it's July 11th! And the moose! Look at him! He's so gorgeous! Disregard the pronouns, they really don't matter, but she looks gorgeous. Like, I could have said she's gorgeous, you know, like Miss Moose, whatever. I don't really fucking know shit about mooses, but we about to find out. I love that. I love that. The energy just came out like that. You heard the voice I used. Let's see. Moose. Oh my god. Moose. Help me to honor the gifts I can give and recognize my worthiness long as I live. This is my bestie, bro. Okay, so my best friend Mercy, she passed 6 years ago. Very unexpectedly, super devastating, except for that really you can't really stay on that forever because she was released into the next form that is a part of her journey, so I can't really say that because she probably doesn't really feel held back at this point. She came over, did what she needed to do, you know, whatever, and I can't say that our connection hasn't only deepened and strengthened since she's transitioned onto a much more expansive form, but truthfully, like, this energy coming in, like her passing and her real lesson of this life and the karma that she got handed, you know, and was trying to navigate was really about her really needing support structurally. And I can feel that wherever she is right now, I know she's got this medicine to give me right now. Like, she's the one who's making sure that I feel worthy to give this message, that I feel comfortable, that I expand everyone's attention span, because like, you haven't had somebody be able to keep your attention for this long. And I'm not trying to do anything right now, you know, other than, I mean, absolutely channel, but it's not really about like any of what's going on here, but it's more so just about like the fact that you see like the way that you've been delighted, sort of titillated by your ability to continue to keep attention. I feel like that's what people feel. That's what, like, I feel the messages, and that maybe that's my gift at this time. So that's what I'm sharing with you guys, is like, people are going to feel that. Like, you're going to start to see like certain energies that like really make you feel something. And those are the people who have been gifted that honor, where you can kind of see and recognize the gifts that you can give, and you recognize your worthiness, you know? And I think I just had a beautiful rise up. Like, I saw it. Like, so July of 2021 was like crash, you know? And you know how I just told you, like, the phoenix just took off into that tree that we showed you guys earlier? That's exactly where I feel like I was at. I just burned up and launched right back on up. And I'm soaring again. And the problem when you crash is, like, there goes your belief that you have anything worthy to give. There goes you. So I literally had a job that was pretty transitionary, honestly, and I'm not even going to let it define more than that for me. Like, I'm just moving on, and, like, that's my right to have, because, like, especially if you're someone who experiences different types of, like, manipulative, toxic work environments, like, it's your right at every time and all the time to, like, move on and not have to keep giving and over giving to people who, like, actively made, like, very conscious choices to hurt you. So at Slay, that we have that awareness, because we're all adults here and we can all just move on with our lives. But anyways, it just means I've never tasted a vibe like you, but you knew that. So anywho, but quite literally, sometimes we know that, like, yeah, and I knew going in, I was like, I can't wait to take a breath. I can't wait for myself to get back up. I knew I was like, okay, I just crashed, so I'm gonna have to repower up, make sure I feel worthy, make sure I remember what the fuck I can give, and now that I'm fucking fully juiced and fully charged, we can go and slay. And so that's what today really marks. There's this, like, little portal between now, tomorrow, and the full moon in Capricorn, which we've just been talking about, that energy of being in Cancer season and this time of year. And, like, what I love about it, because this is the I live for, you know what I mean? When you are aware of the gifts you can give, it speaks. And right now, I'm telling you, I am keeping you gripped by my ability to just know that, like, this is real information. Like, you haven't heard real information, and I'm sorry for that. Like, not even my ego trying to jump in. Like, I am sorry to humanity that people are literally on the day-to-day not being given any information. But yet they spend 9, 10, 12 hours digitally and get nothing in return. Nothing. You know, so many people neglect or have kept Aquarius energy and medicine on the outskirts, as the reject, as the outcast, yeah? That's why so many of y'all have walked right into industries that are, boom, popped up on the grid, because you don't realize that Aquarius is the energy that brought you shit like making money off YouTube, making money off TikTok, quantifying attention spans, because now Aquarian is transitioning us into our telepathic abilities, to our ability to actually project living entities. And we're going to understand that it's not just about what you see third dimensionally, but what you can feel and sense and see as real and know is taking just as much energy as if I saw another bitch standing right here. Like, that's what Aquarian is trying to massage your brain to really just, like, chill the fuck out and understand is going on, you know? But when you keep Aquarius mentality, when you keep Uranus in the back burner and you want to live this life where you're just going to be victim and, like, scarred and traumatized over and over and over and over and over again, instead of integrating the medicine, instead of allowing Aquarius to transition us, right? There was a stagnant disconnect, you know? If it wasn't for Aquarius, like, some of these industries may not be, like, long-term, you know? I can't imagine how the balance of, like, one industry having so much weight and being responsible for so many people's livelihood could really hold up if we go to a society where that didn't matter anymore, and then people are like, wait, what are my special skills? Because I spent, like, 15 years as a YouTuber. Like, what does that mean? So I could see a lot of people, like, if they're certain, like, you have to ask yourself that, because that's when God started saying, like, what are real skills? What are real transferable skills, you know? If you want to be a part of an industry, be a part of the doing part of the industry, not a part of the industry that can just kind of make money based off of just, like, the navigation of other energies. So it just gets deferred. There's just a lot of deferral. So it's literally, because here's what I'm seeing. You submitting as your own source in your industry, right? And this is where, like, a lot of that's where they kind of get you with content creation, I feel, you know, because, you know, it comes from you, it's your content, but it's their concept. So the currency that you're using was created and indoctrinated by this one finite institution, whether that be, you know, whatever social network you want to say. And so they've created this concept that, like, oh yeah, like, it's for sure valuable that you can keep people's attention on your life. We'll even pay you to do it. And so you do. And so every day it feels like I'm my own boss, like I'm handling my own shit. But I think there is going to be Aquarian is also going Aquarius. The part that people don't like about Aquarius is they don't like Uranus. They don't like unpredictability, because the truth is a lot of people don't want to wake up. Not because if they were awake, it wouldn't be fucking way better for everybody involved, but because the process of going from like deeply asleep to awake, 5500 I just saw, but from going from like knocked out to like wide awake, is like excruciating sometimes for some people. Because think about it, we've got like deep sleepers, you've got people who have like sleep apnea, or like who snore, or do other shit. Like you could have any type of sleeping pattern, or people who are super I was about to say something so stupid. The people who like can't sleep, insomniacs, like, so it was, the pattern can kind of look a lot of different ways for people. And I would definitely say shout out to Mercy, because she was definitely like an insomniac, which was someone who was like awake for too long and could never go to sleep. Like, I think there was protection. Like, we were allowed to be asleep. We are allowed to explore our darkness and our shadow, so long as we take responsibility for getting ourselves right back on course, right? So you can't, just like God lets you wallow down there and explore all that balance, the darkness, the shadow, the taboo, all of that, because there's beauty and there's a key there. You go get the key, but it's your responsibility to then walk that key back to your door, unlock your door with said key, which would be the wisdom of what you got from being down there. That's all that's happening. So God is not even judging us for even the state in which we have gotten to self-betrayal, because we will be the bitches to have to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and walk our asses right back up to the kingdom of our own selves, our own internal oasis. You know what I mean? And so God is not concerned either way. Again, when we talk about transcending duality, but I feel like when we play into some of these opportunities that sort of come, there's going to be this awakening, because you'll start to realize like the value in these very real things. Like you might, because again, think about it. Aquarius thinks about the variables, because like, okay, but Aquarius is testing, is theorizing. Well, what if I change this? What if this no longer existed though? What if like there's no longer iPhones or tablets or recording in that way? What if there was no longer apps? What if there was what if this dropped out? Like, how does that affect my stability? And so we're innovating from a place of taking into account our own karma and dharma, and how that could act, how we can make something sustainable from that. Wind powered energy, you know what I mean? We are the wind, so let's own the domain of powering our own lives. Let's use our own chakric system to fuel our own lives. Can I get a hell yeah? The Age of the Aquarian, I'm telling you, it's gonna be like the littest time. But anyway, so we've pulled out Moose. I'm so grateful, because this is, I don't know. It's like, yeah. It's, I mean, I do know. Like, I'm not gonna say, like, I don't know. Like, I do know. I know what the fuck time it is. Like, I'm 25. I don't even know why I needed to do an age reveal like that. But maybe that's what we need to do. My Aquarius is just like, it's like, trust bitch. Like, you haven't been on here posting fucking what, like 50 videos to add like, what just came out of my mouth? Like, obviously I'm channeling. Obviously there's another part of me that I allow lead. So I don't need to even get into that 2D space, because that's not safe for people. It's not safe for people. Oh my God, I'm looking at this sexual energy and I was like, 25 feels like 7, and it is 7-Eleven. It's just out right now. Happy 7-Eleven, y'all. But yeah, it's just like, I don't need to like criticize myself in this space, because if I really want to invite like the out of the box, like expanded version of your consciousness as type of thinking in this space, then I don't even need to like observe the same, like, because then it's going to make it all about the mental loops. You're going to see in my speech how everything I talk to you about is about the mental loops I'm going to send you onto this. You're going to feel about always endlessly criticizing. I can't insert something without myself feeling like I need to process or blah, 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 or put it in this third dimensional box. And it doesn't even need to be off that. It does not even need to be off that. So I just feel like that was just like a little thing too, because also with the Age of the Aquarian, you're going to see a lot of whatever Aquarian shadow side or, can be, which is having to really, really put in strong boundaries and realizing and making that safest space for you. There is self-trust, Aquarius. You have the most self-trust. So act on that self-trust. Right? Because you can be so 11th house for everybody. You got to also trust yourself, though, and trust the guidance and trust that you are the future. God is saying we're all going to the Age of the Aquarian, and a lot of Aquarians don't feel worthy because if we've been sitting as the outcast in the space, and that's everybody's, and not just like sun sign Aquariuses. The Aquarius in everybody's chart, bro, is activated at this time. Wherever it's placed, whatever house, however it's aspected, it's waking up. That part of you is leading you forward. He'll run to that place. It might be in your 8th house, and you might really need to be working through some stuff. You might got Pluto in the 8th and Aquarius. I don't know. Whatever, bro. You run to that space because that's what's going to lead you. That's where we're headed. That's the future, you know? Start expanding into that energy, starting to connect with that energy. The part of yourself that is, you know, unedited. So, more water. We're at an hour of education. I love it. I love it. Who's to say that I'm not an educator? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure not by any standard of any other institution or anything like that. But as an educator in my own truth, you know, everything has always felt really autoethnographic for me. So I really teach from my own well. And that's all I can give you. That's all I can really say, you know? And you have every right to say that my well is valid, and that there's like, we don't even have to act like because it's my well it has to be any type of way. And God is really giving me a warning. God said there's 5% battery. If you want to give this message, you better get to a power source. So we're just gonna make a little transition, which is great for me, not so much mattering to you. All right, so, oops. Here we go. Oh, my girl can get, actually, I kind of liked that vibe. Yeah, it's cool. So, boom. Nobody can cuss me out because I took care of my needs as I was asked to. So, let's see. Moose is found in the north of the medicine wheel, as is buffalo. North represents the place of wisdom. Isn't that so funny where I say go wherever the Aquarius is in your chart and run to that wisdom? It's almost like a north node of like, that's where we're going. Isn't that funny that I just said that? Anyways, self-esteem is the medicine of Moose. Woo! Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. What do you directly inherit from mother and father? What do mother and father certainly have an impact on? Parents might not have a lot of impact on their kids intrinsically, in my opinion, because we're kind of all born with our own karma, so we kind of like select our parents. So in a lot of ways, it's like they're just more so like congruent with whatever energy you needed to grow through than than their own entity. But anyways, one thing they do really affect though is the way that their child mirrors like self-esteem. So this time is really about how we're going to really be able to complete the last 13 years. You're seeing your self-esteem transform. Yeah? Some fallen soldiers, like my best friend, Mercy, you know, self-esteem was really it. When you stop believing that you are worth it, or the world shows you proof that you are not worth it, or that no one really cares, when maybe you're like a kid and you really need your parent to care, and unfortunately maybe they make decisions that show that they don't, and you suffer from that. And people always want to cry at funerals or when tragedy strikes, but when you just have low self-esteem, that's where it's pivotal. I really dedicate this channel to the self-esteem journey, because that's the whole reason I'm here again. The whole reason that I feel connected to my inner child, because my inner child had a level of self-esteem that would just put together, you know, messages, you know, sometimes just art, but also just messages a lot of times, you know, and I felt the need to share that art in a real way, you know, and I feel like my adolescence was all about chasing that self-esteem again. I think maybe a lot of us can relate to that, you know? The moose seems sort of forlorn, thinking about how can I get back to how I once used to feel about myself. The way that I used to be before that thing, that person, that cycle, that institution, that situation, that tragedy struck, that forced me into this place where my self-esteem just seemed unrecoverable. And when you have low self-esteem, you see how much it can taint. And maybe that's why I went on that tangent cussing myself out about like judging what I was like natural, how I decided to like naturally deliver some aspect of the message is if I'm not like already actively channeling. Like that's one of my boundaries with myself. So if you see me like punch myself in the face in speech, it's because like the other twin is like, hey, you just crossed one of your own boundaries. Not cool. Don't do that. Doesn't feel good. So I don't know. It's just, but it is one of those things, right? Like I have much higher self-esteem and I'm about to experience a whole new cycle of life where I can see that like if I thought it was expansive with low self-esteem, like look what I will do, because the thing about having low self-esteem is there's a lot more dormancy than there is activity, which also can just throw things out of balance. Like there were times when I probably should have been more active and hands-on in my life, which probably was like all the time because I was really detached and out of union with my body. But there were times when I really needed to have, like, having a healthy amount of self-esteem, how I regarded myself, you know? Low self-esteem is like you don't regard yourself well. You don't think of yourself or categorize yourself as what you would deem as, like, a worthy, capable person. Capable of love, giving and receiving love, worthy of giving and receiving love. You may, for whatever number of reasons, from whatever experience. I mean, I do this channel for those of us who are on that journey, because I think there are a lot of us who have chosen this path and have been on this path for a long time, because we knew at some point we would reach the precipice where we started to really have such a level of self-love that our self-esteem went back into balance, and then we were actually able to see that, oh my god, maybe the whole time I really was like a being of light. Maybe I really am like a lot more powerful than I thought I was, in my community, in my home, in my relationship with myself, So it feels like really good to know and to trust that the work you had to do in the last 13 years to build a certain level of self-esteem that was carefully crafted by hands-on, not running into things, figuring it out, seeing how it affected you, repairing it, trying again, falling on your ass, repairing it, building stronger and stronger, narrowing what you're allowing, setting new boundaries. You've arrived at some level of self-esteem. And I would argue for every person on this single planet, it's changed. For better or for worse. But so whatever end of the spectrum you feel like you're on, right? Because I would argue a lot more people in exchange for something like currency, like money, like there's a balance in that, right? Like in exchange for bigger finances or faster money or like uncontrollable, rapid, unending wealth, they gave their self-esteem up. And depending on how you view and what you view the point of this life being, like that could be your most valuable asset, because it could be something that you don't know how the future will look. And if you weren't sometimes you can guarantee that with an Aquarian future, you're going to have reached certain steps to get to next levels. So like we can't innovate if we haven't explored certain territories. That's why the Aquarius is not really judgmental, really quick to forgiveness, because ultimately like it needs to be aware of, it needs to be conscious as possible. That's what Aquarius says. Because how can you really know self if you don't even know what's there? You see what I mean? You can't even reach mastery without consciousness. So there is a certain level of intrinsic information that Aquarius is needing to have in order to arrive at an understanding of self. And so, this is kind of the medicine right now. It's like self-esteem is the medicine of Moose because it represents the power of recognizing that wisdom has been used in a situation, and that recognition or a pat on the back is deserved. Oh my God. I have never... Okay, so I gave you that whole channeled message before I even finished the sentence, because it's literally the second sentence in this paragraph. But oh my God, like Spirit just gave me a freaking pat on the back. I just made some decisions where like there were certain things that I literally just like threw into the fire. And I was like, nope, burn it, Spirit, burn it. Use it as fuel for my new start. Like whatever it is, sacrifice that. It could, because it correlated with my low self-esteem. I burned my low self-esteem, and through that purification of fire, changing my body, changing my energy, changing my diet, changing my habits, changing how I love, my capacity for love, working on my heart space, building that space up, I burned it in that fire that was fueling all of that. And Spirit says, self-esteem is the medicine of Moose because it represents the power of recognizing that wisdom has been used in a situation and that recognition or a pat on the back is deserved. I know you can. So also with this energy today, like some of y'all know something is about to be a slam dunk. And you know it's about to be a slam dunk because it's the pat on the back that you deserved because you used wisdom in a previous situation. Like, some of y'all don't realize, like, you got to download, like, yo, this work environment's about to go up in flames, but I could help you for the stress you're going to have to go through to, like, realign now voluntarily. Like, I can promise you, you will find something right in the nick of time before anything actually detrimental happens to you, and you're actually going to be much happier and much more empowered, and you're going to be known as the person who had high self-esteem and knew when something was dishonoring that. If you can do that, boom, then you're going to realize that you're going to start to see at this time, like, what it was that affirmed that, like, what it was that you stepped away from. Moose is the largest member of the deer family and has a great strength. The call of the male moose is an awesome thing to hear on a musky spring night. Maybe that's why I said him. His pride in his maleness and his desire to share his seed with a moose cow are displays of his sense of self-esteem. The bellow of a male moose can be viewed as a positive force, since it represents his willingness to tell the world about his feelings. Brad, 11111. That was so beautiful. That was so beautiful because we're looking at 11. That is so beautiful. This tell the world trait contains a joyfulness which only comes with a sense of accomplishment. Spirit collective, starting today, tomorrow, and tomorrow, and the next day, from the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th, watch how you are going to have your tell the world moment, where quite literally it's a trait that contains a joyfulness which only comes with a sense of accomplishment. People are going to know that you want to tell, people are going to know you were successful because you wanted to tell the world about what you've done. Like, what you walked away from, it's like you have a sense, you bring in your own sense of success and accomplishment. Remember, it's the power you have that lets you recognize that wisdom has been used and that you deserve a pat on the back. Remember, you bring it in. Part of having high self-esteem is you don't really need, God doesn't need to do much, really. Because you're going to be the one to review and judge yourself and bring on any death cycle. You do it every time, whether you feel conscious of it or not. You're arbitrating it consciously to some degree. You know, it's on the next path for you. Or whether you're initiating a success, you're going to feel this because it came from you. You said, it's time for me to get a pat on the back because I worked hard. You were in an environment where that was not aligning with that. You kept saying, okay, I've done the work. I've done the work. What, like, you guys need to reflect that. That's what the deal is here. And they defer until you're like, no, I still know that it's my time. I still know that I've become the best version of myself. So I'm going to have high self-esteem. I'm going to remove myself. I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to use wisdom here and recognize what's going on. I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to leave the situation, and I'm going to make sure that I grow and become, and that in whatever, when I'm actually ready would be the time that it happens anyways. So I'm going to keep working on myself until Spirit aligns with me and it's in my face. It says, now you're ready. Spirit will tell you when you're ready. You don't even have to do much, but you get the pat on the back you deserve because you knew it was your time to feel good about you. You know it's your time to feel good about you. So, there's a freeness to Aquarius, because Aquarius says, but at any point, I always remember I control all this. So if I want to feel better, if I want to change the way my behavior, if I got to be, you also have the understanding you got to be the person to do this. There is no greater joy than a job well done. Oh my God, this is about to be a euphoric energy. This trait is therefore not a seeking of approval, but rather an enjoyment of sharing because of the spontaneous explosion of joy that comes from the deepest part of one's being. Dude, this is fucking crazy. So literally, like, tomorrow I have a lunch that I was offered, like, as a next step for, like, a job interview that I was just pretty excited about. That they were like, yeah, we just want to take you to a chat and a lunch. And I don't really know because I'm still in the interview process. So I really don't know. I mean, I presume, like, they wouldn't waste money on, like, taking me to a lunch if, but yeah, so there's that. But yeah, it says there's no greater joy than a job well done. This trait is therefore not seeking of approval. Therefore, like, this isn't going to be about whether they approve of me. That's what's going to feel really crazy. But rather an enjoyment of sharing because of the spontaneous explosion of joy that came from out of me when they met with me. Because that's what, because like, it's, you know, I'm always used to like seeking people's approval. So this is the first time where these people are like, we don't need to approve of you. We're just gonna just like take you to lunch and celebrate like the explosion. Like, we've never in our professional careers experienced someone like you. Like, I'm just seeing all of that conversation being had. The wisdom woven throughout this scenario is that creation constantly brings forth new ideas and further creation. Moose is telling us that joy should be shouted with pride. Dude, this is what I mean. Like, you reminded people that like creation is ongoing and creation creates more creation. And you reminded people of the next generation of like empowered industry people that they have a responsibility to. And I'm just hearing this like from like as medicine to myself, but I feel like it's channeled because it matters. But your energy reminds people that there is another generation they have to be responsible for as well, you know? And not responsible for as in you have to do anything for them, but like whatever you're working on, like those materials are left here. So make them comprehensible, make them legible, make them easy to follow so we can know where you were at, you know? And we can be connected to you. If we never were connected to you, we have physical remnants and instructions about where to start, you know? And in that way, you can help out the future generation. And that is powered by how much you love what you do. Do what you love so that you do it with pride. Woo! Needed to hear that. This is the era. This Capricorn, this 11th, 12th, and 13th is going to tell you to do what you love so that you can do it with pride. And I feel so grateful for this channel and for what it has transformed in me. And that's really what I would just call Virgo Saint North Node was like, yo, like my North Node in Virgo, like it was a brutal one to try to reach for. But I think I'm finally at a place where I can wear the journey with pride, which means it serves me and it's healthy and I relate to it and I work on it all the time and I'm really passionate about it and I'm probably always going to be in this space, just being more myself. And I think that this video in itself was just like a much more honest myself version and expression. So Spirit is telling me, Moose is telling me, Mercy is telling me, isn't that funny? Like, Moose is the same amount of letters as Mercy. Like, it's just fucked up. So anyways, Moose is telling you that joy should be shouted with pride. Mercy is like Alexis. I have been trying to orchestrate some things for you because you've been so amazing and you've made sure that, like, I, like the real version of me, like, I think when people transition, they just want to know that there was at least something on this planet that got a real version of them, that had their real understanding and real perspective and saw things, like, really, you know? And I think that I have that peace in knowing that I could be one of the keepers of that real truth in her. But I think she was really orchestrating some things for me behind the scenes to really make some of my personal dreams come true, dreams we shared together. You know, she would be really stoked if she knew about like the opportunity that I might go with tomorrow. But I think this is her telling me like you killed it. You like hook, line, sinkered it, you know? I didn't really even share much about, or maybe I did. I guess the last video I had, I was on my way. Maybe I was to an interview, maybe I wasn't, whatever. But it went amazing, you know? It felt really, really real in a crazy way, you know? So, the wisdom in doing this shouting is that the joy is catching. In a sense, the bellowing is a way for all of us to lighten up and give ourselves or each other a well done. Like, I just think that they want to tell me well done. I think I might be I want to manifest that. I know I might have already done that. Like, manifesting a job that's like, we've never experienced someone come in and be so intimately, like, aware of themselves and so full of purpose and drive and so more, like, learning from you, you know? Like, I really felt like people were listening to me and I had an audience of, like, thinkers and artists who were staring at me, evaluating me, and it was a panel of people, and you know, and I really wanted to embody what I do here, you know, and it felt a lot like this space and this version of me, and it was beautiful. And I'm manifesting that tomorrow I'm going to just go in so that they can say like, you tell us what number, you know, and I can say the truth. Say what I need, say what I'm worth, in exchange for giving myself fully, you know? After all, I am that which is attained at the end of desire. So I know that because this came from God, that the community that I'm about to step into has stopped desiring, and they really just said, look, like, we just need this to be bare bones. And they, they kind of gave up on the thing. And then as soon as they released the pining and the desiring and the lusting after what it could be, it comes right to them. And they caught it. I think we all feel very caught by the situation. The bellowing you're hearing is because of a job well done. Moose medicine people have the ability to know when to use the gentleness of deer and when to activate the stampede of buffalo. That was you. You were sitting there being gentle but also taking charge, and you were yielding and emotionally receptive, but also moved us forward and brought us back on point, and also made sure to keep telling a bigger picture, because sometimes when the likable energy, you have to give them depth too. You gave them that. You went into your depths. If they were happy, like, that's the thing, is I usually blow people's expectations. I know that about myself. It's Uranus, like, blowing expectations. Not even like a toot my own horn. That's just what Uranus is. Whatever you expected. The expectations can be piss poor. Like, a lot of times they are. It's not even like a flex. Like, most of the time people's expectations are like on the floor. So it's really not, I don't really think that I'm all that crazy. I mean, it's better than maybe what the standard was, but it doesn't even mean that I'm all that like over the top. But it's because people's expectations are usually so dense, so concentrated. It's not that hard to blow them up. So because I know that, a lot of times people get so fixated on like, wow, like what an enigma, like we've never seen something like that. So I have to make sure now that I've gone on this journey, I'm like, give them depth, serve them the slay, serve them the, shadow butt in her lane, and they understand the balance between giving orders to get things done and having a willingness to do things themselves. And I think that's something that I'm hearing these people say, which was like, I really displayed like a lot of initiative. Like, I talked about the things that I'm like happy to just like go after and do, and how I have this willingness to get things done, but at the same time, I also like, they also see that I'm not, that I could, we could always, my approach is kind of like, I'm really willing to just like do the job, I'm really willing to just like do the work. So the wisdom of moose medicine is akin to the grandfather warrior who has long since put away his war paint and is now advising the young bucks to cool their blood. That's the vibe, dude. You, after this 13-year cycle, like, your self-esteem is at a place where it's now time for you to put away the war paint and realize that it's all about teaching this next generation how to keep their blood cool. So be aware of partnerships where that can transpire, where that relationship between intergenerational, like, certain industries are ready to thrive because they're saying yes to bridging that gap, to sharing their wisdom. They want it to be realigned to people who would really benefit from their wisdom. I think it's always great when you align yourself with a company or a place where your mutual vested interest in what each other's wisdom really are complementary, and you can both have a mutualistic and beneficial relationship. Moose medicine is often found in elders who have walked the good red road and have seen many things in their earth walk. Their joy lies in being the teachers of the children and in being the first ones to give encouragement. This is not to say that moose medicine people do not use their wisdom to warn as well as to give praise, because they do. Moose medicine people know what to say, when to say it, and to whom. And I think that has been very notable about this opportunity. Like, it came from spirit, and it was the kind of flow where it was like, I knew what to give, I knew who to give it to, I knew how to give it, and it worked, and it felt safe in that way. Like, it feels like a risk, but it's like a super calculated, spirit's already telling me it's yours kind of risk. You know what I mean? It says, the elders are honored in tribal law for their gifts of wisdom, which is a check, for their teaching abilities, check, and for the calmness they impart in counsel. So part of what was also really important about the interview is I spent a lot of time thanking them, because these are elders. Like, these are people who are probably like 2 to 3 generations older than I am, so, and not in a like whatever way, like, I feel like I'm old enough to just kind of like blend, like, you wouldn't necessarily know. where I was or wasn't at. It's all kind of relative at a certain point. But they are older and they are elders and they have been in this space. And I think that just a general being honored in an interview is not something I think that a lot of them were used to, like being respected, being revered as the well of knowledge that they are, as people that you really like, you wanting to care about their value system. Like, I don't really think that that's always often like the focal point in intergenerational conversation. So honoring the elders is super important. It's a super good red flag, I feel like, for those of you who are wondering. It feels like it resonates for those of us. But if you are wise beyond your years and have the gift of moose medicine, use this gift to encourage others to learn and grow. And that's what I'm excited to do. I really feel like moose medicine is just coming in to encourage everybody, and that's like such a beautiful spirit animal, and I'm so grateful that energy came through, because I feel like it really resonates with, like, I was really looking in the job sector and trying to define like what role I play, and I feel like moose medicine coming in tells me you've got it, you figured out where you belong, and that feels really, really awesome. If you have there are many facets to the wisdom of moose medicine. If you've chosen the moose card, you have reason to feel good about something you have accomplished on your journey. I love when spirit does stuff because none of the cards are really like I don't know. I've never pulled a animal medicine card that kind of talks about like predictive, like something good happening to you. Usually it's like the story of the animal. So this is really new. I mean, I haven't nearly, like, a lot of times I get a lot of the similar energy. So this is the first time I've ever pulled moose, but it's just really interesting that this is like spirit really touching me because I was not expecting this passage to be like oriented towards me in that way. Like I thought it was going to be kind of like allegorical. But it says, you have reason to feel good about something you have accomplished on your journey. This may be a habit you have broken, a completion of some sort, an insight on a goal, or a new sense of self that you have fought hard to earn. I'm just really grateful to be in this message, not even get this message, to like get this message right now. Because I fought hard to earn it. I fought really hard to earn it. It is a time of feeling harmonious pride. And of recognizing those who aided you in the process. Like, I'm so excited this week because, you know, I can already feel that any victory I get, it's going to be such a team effort from everyone. I feel like I'm giving a gosh darn Grammy speech, you know, but it really was, you know, to the people I had to lean on in times of fluctuation monetarily, or people who have opened their homes when I lost a home, or people who have supported my like spirit with love and nourishment, you know, and thought of me and cared for me and wanted to know that I was breathing and okay. Those people mean the most to me, and those people are the people that are around me and that I want to see win, you know, in life. And of recognizing those who aided you in the process. Wow. One good exercise in moose medicine is to write down things that you can love about yourself and your progress in life. And that has been the vibe, and I encourage you for the next 3 days to really, and I mean honestly the next 3 days, because you're probably on this cycle, even if it's like not date specific, like you'd probably really resonate with this cycle if you found this video. But in the next 3 days, really just talk about those things that you love about yourself and your progress in life. Then apply those same things to friends, families, coworkers, and life. Don't forget to share the findings with others. They need the encouragement as much as you do. And the last message I heard from that was like, your encouragement really like reminded them why they need to keep going. And I think they're going to open up to you in a way you have no idea. Like, they're going to just think you are so brilliant, so beyond brilliant, and you are so inspiring, and you're someone who really encouraged them to keep going and to keep investing in this project. And that's all because of how hard you wanted something that was going to reflect the impact you had on your own life, and you got it. You got it. So I'm going to go ahead and end the message there. Like, moose medicine is just like star of the show. I'm so grateful. I might have more messages later, but I'm just so grateful. You have a reason to really feel a job well done. Happy 7-Eleven. I can't believe moose medicine came out. I can't believe we had some crazy just like opportunities to go into different types of messaging about just like what to expect, and some things we need to like, you know, I've kept a lot of my like views to myself, but I'm an Aquarius. Okay, I have a stellium and Aquarius energy, and this is my time to share that. So I have that knowledge to share. So just to get you thinking, just to get you stimulated and start forming your own dialogue about what some of the things that go on really mean. Like, let's start extracting that wisdom, because it's the time. So super big congratulations to myself. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful to God that I get to really pick a number, and I get to really just like be exactly where I wanted to be anyways, and like feel that comfort and ease to like continue to honor the people that helped me keep doing this, because I know I would do this and I would make a way for myself, and I would always keep working to get onto this path, no matter what awareness I didn't have and may have caught me off guard, you know. So I'm so grateful and thankful, because it truly only goes up from here. Yeah, so this is unbelievable. But thank you, God. Thank you, all of you. Goodbye.